Tonight, you're going to close your eyes and lose approximately 8 hours of your life. You won't remember most of it. You'll wake up slightly confused, briefly unsure of who you are or where you are, and then you'll get up and do it all again tomorrow. You've done this every single day of your existence, and you've never once asked why. But here's the question nobody asks. What would happen if you just stopped? Not for a night, not for a week, forever. What if sleep was simply removed from the equation? What if you never had to sleep again? The first answer your brain gives you is probably wrong. Most people assume the answer is simple. You die. Your body would shut down. But that's not quite right. Because the real story of what sleep deprivation actually does to a human being is far stranger, far more disturbing, and far more revealing about what you actually are than you've probably ever considered. Let's start with what we know. In 1959, a New York disc jockey named Peter Tripp decided to stay awake for 201 hours straight as a publicity stunt. He broadcast live from a glass booth in Times Square. Doctors monitored him around the clock. For the first few days, he was fine. Tired, but functional. By day 4, he started seeing spiders weaving webs across his booth. By day 5, he became convinced his shoes were filled with crawling creatures. By the end, he didn't know who he was. He accused one of the monitoring physicians of being an undertaker who had come to bury him. He screamed. He ran. It took him weeks to fully recover. But here's what's fascinating. Peter Tripp wasn't sick. He hadn't been poisoned. Nobody had touched his brain. All that had happened was that he hadn't slept. In 1965, a 17-year-old high school student named Wandy Gardner broke the world record by staying awake for 264 hours, 11 days straight. He was monitored by researchers from Stanford. Unlike Tripp, Gardner remained relatively coherent. But by the end, he couldn't add simple numbers. He couldn't recall basic facts. He hallucinated. He had no idea what day it was or where he was. And when he finally slept, he slept for 14 hours and recovered almost completely. Almost. Because here's what the researchers noticed. Gardner's brain didn't wait for him to sleep. It started sleeping anyway. They called it microsleep. Tiny windows of unconsciousness, lasting anywhere from a fraction of a second to 30 seconds, that hijack the brain without warning and without permission. You can be sitting upright, eyes open, apparently awake, and a section of your brain has already gone offline. You are, in a measurable and literal sense, asleep and awake at the same time. Your brain will take sleep whether you give it permission or not. But that still